depressing, it's vile and distressing. I might top myself, 'cause I feel sad, numb and grumpy. I might leave the country for my mental health. Fucking hell.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the absolutely fantastic, the one and only, the absolutely sensational Elton John.
But losing every game, we'll see the Spurs going down early.
The fantastic Elton John are coming and do a job as soon as Cheltenham's over. Fantastic.
The Spurs going down the league.
I don't know what that was, but I kind of enjoyed it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ruthless Gooner. Whether you be ruthless or just like one of these two gentlemen down here, you'll be replaced. Welcome along to Capital Punishment. This is something we're going to plan on doing next season, but just a little bit of a teaser, a little bit of a taster. We're going to do this early. Final game of the season. Not really that much to go on. We're lifting up the Premier League trophy. And there are two games where huge ramifications and implications are at stake here. It is, of course, West Ham and Tottenham, both sitting in 17th and 18th, respectively, 2 points away from each other. They are in desperation mode now. West Ham need to win, and Spurs need something at home. And I can't do this tonight without two amazing guests. First of all, on the left side of me, on the West Ham side, I have got Tony from Hammers Fan TV. Tony, good evening, sir. How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. When can I buy that bloke's album? Because it sounds superb and that, because I can just kind of play that over to Dermot as many times as possible.
Oh, dear.
He's doing it in the channel as well. Evening, Dermot. I didn't see you was there.
Of course, it's good to everyone, mate. And representing on the Tottenham side, this is an old friend of mine. On my old channel, I used to go on his channel a fair bit, and I've been out of touch with him. But I'm glad to have him back on, even though he is a spud. But we have to do this because it is Capital Punishment. We've got Dermot here from THFC Till We Die. Big up, Dermot. How are we doing, sir? Hopefully you've recovered from the hopefully you recovered from the freaking roasting I've just given you without saying a word.
Yeah, I just wonder, where's Tony's roasting? Why is he not getting the roasting? Where's his Elton John song? I want West Ham to go down and have a Trevor Brook in, or somebody coming in the background helping. Do you know, I just feel this is a little bit lopsided, and I feel that you and Tony are in cahoots with one another because you both want Tottenham to go down. I know where this is going. I think this is rigged. I'm doing a Donald Trump. I'll call him for a re-election. For
your information, I did have something for West Ham. Unfortunately, just like Tottenham and Leeds, it kept on blowing it after I tried to render it all the time. So it just worked. Yeah. But it is what it is.
I think you got slipped a few quid by Tony. I think Tony slipped you a few quid, a brown envelope, bit like VAR.
Oh, here we go.
Nothing happening here. Big up. Great to see you again, Karl. Yeah, we did lose touch, bud, but look, glad to see you back, and it's an absolute honour to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries, mate. It's good to have you on. Guys, the links to both guys' channels are in the title and in the description below, so please make sure you go and check them out. As always, make sure you smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. What we're clicking on now, 147. So we're about 3 off 150 before the end of the season. Let's get to 150 mark before the end of the season, shall we? Not bad for being back after 7 weeks. We do have a lot of people in the chat. Big up to Kawaja, who's in the building. The 2 marks, Show Cookie. Big up, bro. Big up, Tony Karl. And it's come on, you Spurs. Okay, I hate to say that, but yeah, it's fine. This is now who will turn up on the day, who's got the minerals. Yep, exactly that. And obviously that's Dermot there. And yeah, big up to everyone that is actually locked in over on the other side on Tony and on Dermot's stream. So big up to you for joining. And that, Karl says 2026 FIFA World Cup is nearly here. I can't wait for the tournament to start. At the end, guys, we'll have a little bit of a discussion of the England squad, okay? Because I've done this on my own, but I just want your 2 thoughts, at the end of it as well. Big up to Jane from Talk Fan TV. Hope you are doing well, mate. Like so far, big up to Unique, who's in the building. This clip is crazy. Big up to Unique as always. There's my main mod there. Big up Static. Hope you're well, bro. Everyone's all laughing and that. So, also, man, Elton has let himself go. I was just going to say that. I was going to say that gladly. Okay, LOL. What the Tottenham is that? Just something I cooked up literally about half an hour ago, but nothing drastic. We're going to starting with the question. Lads, both your teams are not in good form at all this season. You sit in and just out of the relegation zone for a purpose. Tony, we'll start with you first. West Ham sitting in 18th on 36 points. And I know obviously we played you a couple of weeks ago, and obviously there was a lot of controversy regarding the VAR, and each to their own regarding that what happened. But overall, the course of the season, where do you think it's gone wrong? Where do you think you've ended up in this position?
The biggest problem, I think, more than anything else, is, and stats don't lie at the end of the day, it's the amount of games where we've thrown points away. And that comes down to, obviously, the management side of things, where Nuno has kind of made wrong decisions at the wrong time. The one that, I'll bore people to death about is the Bournemouth game. We was 2-0 up in that game. Wilson scores 2 goals, get a 3rd goal, game safe. Then he hooks him off after 56 minutes and then goes all defensive for the remainder. And when you look at it, 2 shots from West Ham and 25 shots from Bournemouth tells you the true story. And that's why it was 2-2 in that game. But we've conceded, or we've lost, shall I say, 22 points from winning positions. So when you look at something like that, that's the reason why we are where we are. If we got them things right, then we wouldn't be having this conversation now.
It goes back to when you had Lopetegui as your manager. It didn't exactly go well there, and it's sort of like you try to patch things up. I listen, Nuno Espirito Santos, I actually do like as a head coach. The only problem is though is that sometimes he can get in his own way at times. And one particular game I'll say as a prime example was your away trip to Newcastle, where I'm not sure if the player didn't turn up, or it was a case of the manager was just, I don't know, he just got his tactics completely all wrong. Within 20 minutes, the game was pretty much out of reach at that point.
Yeah, it was in that game again. When you look at that, I mean, as soon as I saw the lineup, it was a case of, right, we're going to, we're putting ourselves under pressure. We're going to be on hiding. As you said, 20 minutes, you're 2-0 down with 2 silly mistakes. Hermanson pushing the ball out to Debo when the last five or so minutes you're being peppered by Newcastle, and you play a ball out like that to someone who wasn't even watching. Harvey Barnes nicks the ball, gets the ball whipped in again, and Watermiller scores. And then that's for the second goal. Comes down to the same thing again. We make a silly mistake. Disasi's way out of position. By the time he realises it, Mavropanos has gone onto the left to cover 2 players, leaves the middle open. Asula's got an easy one, and it's another one that goes through. So when you look at something like that, that's when he hooks off to Debo in 26 minutes, changes the game, and Tatty for all purposes, and that came on. And he was you could tell how much it hurt him because he came on in that game and he was on fire. I mean, 6 shots, he hit the post, scored a brilliant goal, the contender of the season, you can say. But it's decisions like that that have cost us so many games. And yeah, it does fall down to Nuno at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong, as you know, players have got to do the job as well. And a lot of players have let themselves down. There's no two ways about it. But the thing you're saying, like with Lopetegui, if it wasn't for him, funny enough, getting them points at the beginning of the season, we would already be in the championship.
Yeah. But obviously you've suffered with injuries as well. But one person that was more of an impact that I saw of when I did watch West Ham was Somerville. Every time Somerville was on the pitch, it just felt like he was like your difference maker. And when he was injured for a certain amount of time, it felt like you'd lost that little bit of a spark. Even don't get me wrong, you still had Jarrod Bowen, but Somerville was like that youth movement that would actually, that would help you along the way.
Yeah, I mean, Bowen's himself is admitting he's not exactly had the best season. We've all seen that. I mean, I've said it, and I feel a few other people, and I know some of the people in the chat have said it. For me, you should never have been given the captaincy in the first place. It's too much for someone like, it took away part of him. For me, he wasn't the same player because now you've got a responsibility as well as trying to do your job on the pitch. And for me, he just couldn't do it. Don't get me wrong, when he scored the goal for England, he gave him a bit of uplift, but he's still not captain material. If anything, as much as some people might not like it, Souček would have been the ideal choice as captain. Old guard, knows what it's all about, and leave Bowen to do what he's supposed to do, and we would have got the better out of him. Somerville, yeah, I mean, he tried on Sunday as well against Newcastle. Evening, Pagey. But when you look at it, there's too many games where players have gone missing. And that's, again, it's what's cost us. If you think at the beginning of the season, when we had Potter still in charge at that point, I think it was the first 4 games, he went in with Hermansen straight away, who was literally like rabbits in the headlights, and Michael believes if he comes in and that will tell you he's got T-Rex arms, and it was definitely found. And it was from that point onwards that the die was set, as they say.
Absolutely, yeah. Who should have been captain then if it wasn't Bowen?
Souček.
Yeah, I was going to say Souček.
Oh, say he knows he wears it on his sleeve. He's one of the old stalwarts, and when you think we got rid of the likes of Bonner and the Dawsons and Antonio, the Cresswells, the Kufals, the old, where you like to mix it up, the new players and the old players, and when you look at that side of things, once you take them things away, you've got new players that come into the team that don't really buy into the club at that stage, even Ray. That don't buy into the club at that stage, and you've got to try and integrate it into there. So yeah, it's one of those. And the thing is, both teams are where we are because of where we are.
Yeah, definitely. You're in that situation. It's a shame to see. Damn it. Let's transfer over to Tottenham, shall we? You've dealt with. I can only describe it as you had more injuries this season than the French had in the Second World War. VAR hasn't been kind to you on a number of occasions. That's not including the one we saw in the midweek against Chelsea, which I believe I don't know what the fuck the ref was doing there, but it is what it is. What the hell's happened? What the hell? We knew last season there was already grumblings going on last season because you finished 17th. Now, okay, the caveat to that was you won the Europa League, fair enough, but surely after that you should be kicking on. Now, okay, you made it through that. You got bounced out the first round of the Champions League to Atletico Madrid, but overall your season hasn't. It's not been as worse. It's not been as worse as West Ham's, but it's borderline around about the similar sort of ways. What's happened? What's happened at Spurs? And I'm generally saying this as a neutral here. I'm not saying this as a biased Arsenal fan. I'm saying this as a neutral ganker here. What has happened to Tottenham?
What's happened at Tottenham has been mismanagement of the highest quality. If this was treason, they should be locked up and thrown in the Tower of London for what they've done to us. We've got a medical team that doesn't work. We've got a director of football who doesn't know what he's doing. We've got somebody who's took over from Levy and hasn't got Scooby-Doo how to run a football club. And we've got owners that don't want to spend any money, but they're quite happy building a hotel and they're quite happy building property around the Tottenham instead of focusing on what needs fixing, and that's the squad. But on top of that as well, the players have to take a huge part of this as well. We've only won out 75 league games. We've won 20 in the Premier League over the last 2 years. We have lost 35 out of them 75 games. And it all started with Ange, where Ange brought in the culture, and I think Levy as well, that it was okay to lose in the Premier League. It was okay to lose. And I think you don't have that culture when it comes to come to us in the Premier League, because the Premier League's your bread and butter. That's where you earn your money. That's where you earn your money for your transfer kitty. That's where your prestige and qualifying for Europe and you finish as high as you can. That's your bread and butter. So to really answer your question, why is it going? It's the board. It's the ownership. Starts with them and it ends with them. And this is 25 years in the making. Why we're here now, to be fair.
You got rid of Daniel Levy, who everyone was kind of saying that it was all of us here was chance of Levy out. Levy's gone, and it's seen, and nothing's changed. If anything, it's got worse. And I'm not going to try and be devil's advocate here, but was Daniel Levy more the fall guy?
It's hard to know, because you could say that. You could actually go along with that train of thought, and you're probably right in a way that he probably was not the full hurdle. I think Joe Lewis was the biggest issue, but he also was going along. He was also half the problem as well. One thing with Daniel Levy, I would say one thing for sure: Thomas Frank would not have lasted as long as Tottenham manager, as long as he was left in. And also, I think we would have done something in the window. It might have been a few loans. It might have been something. But Johan Lang has spent over 700 million on players that he's bought to Tottenham in the time he's been with us. And he's built a squad that is not capable of winning football matches. And if you don't win in the Premier League, you will get relegated, and rightly so. We got away with it last season because the 3 teams below us were absolutely worse than what we are. And we won the Europa League. Yes, the greatest night, I think, for me, for a long, long, long time. But the issues, when this all started in the summer, we didn't deal with the issues in the summer. We didn't deal with them in January. We didn't sack Thomas Frank at the right time. We brought in a manager who didn't know what he was doing, and we brought in De Zerbi too late. Now, we may stay up tomorrow and Tony may go down, and we could be saying, well, we got away with that one. But last season was a blip. 2 seasons in a row, there's something seriously wrong with this football club, and it's rotten from top to bottom. And that's the ownership. They have to take full responsibility. And Tony will probably say the same about his ownership. It all boils down to that. It boils down to the decisions you make. You look at Manchester United. Amarin sort of sacked himself, but they sacked him at the right time. Carrick came in, they got Champions League football. You look at other clubs as well that have made the decisions at the right time, and it's benefited their season. We haven't done that, and we're where we are because of bad decision making and due diligence as well.
The only thing I counter regarding a Manchester United is the fact that they were out of every single competition you could think of. So all they really had was the league to deal with. So they were only playing once a week. There's a reason why I call them Houseplant FC for a reason. Then next year, they're going to have to see, they're in both cups and now they're in the Champions League. Let's see how Carrick does. I wish him all the best. But he's only been given a 2-year deal, which is quite short for quite short, if I'm honest with you. They're only giving them a very short amount of time, which is a bit puzzling. Well, what's gone on with you talked about the ownership, but what's gone on with the products on the pitch? Because you've had multiple amount of injuries. You've got an absolute asshat as a centre half in Romero, who's just want to be a perpetuant child all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not getting into what we've seen earlier on today regarding he stayed in Buenos Aires to go watch his childhood club and whatnot, instead of coming back to Tottenham to actually try and, rescue you from relegation and that. But what's happened on the pitch in general? 2 wins at home all season. I expect Burnley to have 2 wins at home all season. I expect some like Ipswich Town or Norwich or West Brom. I know I'm going back in the older days, but they used to be professional football's yo-yo clubs. Now it seems like that's Burnley. Now it seems like that's fucking Burnley. But 2 games at home, that's mad. You built that stadium so it could become a fortress, so it could be a real issue. And teams have just gone there and just taken points off you like it's nothing, like it's candy.
Yeah, it's been a horrible season at home. This is the worst home season I think we've had in our history. And it started from last season as well, where I said it before, it was okay to lose. The loser mentality, it was fine to lose. There was no accountability for you losing at home. And we've seen the players this season. The players have to be held accountable massively for not. They've thrown managers under the bus. They haven't played, and I couldn't really put my finger on it, Karl, because I'd be here all night. We'd be here to this time tomorrow night if I was trying to figure out why we are where we are. But again, if you look at the stats, and the stats say only 20 wins in our last 75 Premier League games, that tells you everything you need to know. That it boils down to Joanne Lang not buying correctly and buying players that are not good enough to wear our shirt. Romero, what he's doing, I think strip the captaincy off him now and never let him back in the club again, because as we were talking earlier, Bowen wouldn't do that at West Ham. I wouldn't say back in the day Tony Adams wouldn't do it at Arsenal, or Nigel Winterburn, or Steve Bold, or any of them players. I can tell you Graham Roberts, Steve Perriman, Ledley King, Robbie Keane, any of them players wouldn't do it. I know that for a fact. And there's players at our club that don't care. They don't care about the shirt. They don't care about the fans. They don't care. All they want to know is, where am I going next? And I think that is, sadly, that's the footballer of today. The footballer of today doesn't care about the team he's playing for. It's just passing through. He's looking for the next paycheck. I'm going to be here for 2-3 years. Right, where can I go after here? I'm going to use this as a stepping stone. But also, you've got to blame the ownership for not making the right structure around these players. Hence, having the right manager, having the right wage structure, having the right structure within the squad, that these players do turn up on time, do what they're supposed to do. And if you don't, you get punished. We know early in the season, Paratici has said to the board that the players don't respect Thomas Frank. The players are not turning up on time on training. They're all hell was broke loose. And the Lewis family ignored what Paratici was saying to him. Paratici says, right, if I'm not going to be listened to, why am I staying here? He's gone to Italy. He's gone to Fiorentina. I think it's Fiorentina he went to. And look at them now. They're thriving in Serie A. And we'd be left with a numpty who doesn't know his way out of a paper bag. And then tomorrow, we've got to get a point. Well, to be fair, this should have been done and dusted. No disrespect, Tony. This should have been done and dusted weeks ago. We shouldn't be going into tomorrow still needing the point. But at the end of the day, it's not just one thing. There's multiple of issues at our football club. And our football club's broken. It's broken and it needs fixing. And the sad thing about it, the foundations Bill Nick laid have gone. There's no spirit of Bill Nick at the football club. We've got no identity. We don't know who we are. And until this ownership goes, we're never gonna know who we are. And it's sad for both clubs, because both clubs have fantastic history that I think is being ignored, and that it should be promoted. But look, we are where we are. And if relegation comes, I'm going to be devastated. Do I think it changes anything? No, it doesn't change jack all. The only time it will change once these owners leave this football club. And they're either going to go when they get the money they want for the football club at the end of the day.
The problem is, though, they would only. The thing is, and I know what you say. If they got dropped to the championship, then you could sell them for a fair bit of money. But surely, if you've got a stock and it's at its highest point, that's when you sell it.
Yeah.
Tottenham
Yeah,
right now, it's like stocks and bonds. You know, you're not going to sell if you sell Tottenham on the cheap. Okay, you sell Tottenham on the cheap, fine. But that will be the only good news for that will be the fans and the person that buys it off them. ENIC will lose a lot. ENIC will lose a lot of money. But there's so much going on at that stadium right now with regarding, obviously, you got Tottenham there, but you got the go-kart track underneath the stadium. You got concerts, you got boxing events, you got 2 games, 2 NFL games, which I go to one of them every single year. So, you know, there's still a lot that's going on. It feels like that all that's being prioritized away from the football club, but the whole point of you building that stadium was to actually put the football first. And that doesn't seem to have been the case.
No, I agree on that, because if you think about it, look, I understand why Tottenham have done it, and I don't mind the concerts in the summer or the go, because there's nothing happening in the summer anyway. But all the money that's made for them should be put back into the football club, but they haven't. I don't know what Tony thinks about West Ham, but I agree with you that football is not the number one priority by our owners. And we're not a football club. We're an entertainment centre that's there for entertainment, entertaining. And they think more about getting Beyonce or the Gorillas in the summer, or holding Tyson Fury boxing matches, or having the F1. And you saw Fury's last fight, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, up in lights. And people saying, what a fantastic boxing venue. And you're sitting there as a fan thinking, it's a football ground. It's our home. It's where we go week in, week out for so many games at home every year. And it's not a boxing venue. It's a football ground. And that's what frustrates me. I understand football's going that way, but football in general is losing its sort of links to what it was about. It's not a working man's game anymore. It's not a working family game anymore. It's gone into being a game for the rich, for the people that can afford it, and the people's like myself and my family, Tony and his family, are being priced out of football. It's not for us anymore. And I fear for the game in the next 10, 15 years, what it's going to be like, because the likes of me and Tony and yourself, Karl, people watching and watching on all our channels, it's not going to be a game for us anymore. It's going to be a game for the rich and the wealthy. And we're just going to be looked upon like it was when football first started. It was all about keeping it out from the working man, the working people.
It was a working man's game. It was a working man's game.
It didn't start off as that. It started off as a rich, privileged, for the rich people, and then it became a working people's game. Now it's going back to where it was when football first started. We need to, as fans, need to protest. We need to get out and rescue our football clubs, because before too long, we're going to lose them. And the clubs like Tottenham, West Ham, Arsenal, we're going to be priced out of the game. And it needs to stop, and it needs to stop now.
No, it does stop. Before we get into Tony on his club's ownership situation, I've got a comment here. Big up Chris Brown _ 1959. Whoever goes down tomorrow, the other one will go next season. I bet you are salivating, and it doesn't matter who goes down. You're salivating that either West Ham or Spurs that goes down. It probably might be West Ham, because obviously the West Ham Millwall rivalry is very well documented, but I'll go as far as that. And also, guys, there is a poll on my channel at the moment, and it's basically just a simple poll: who gets relegated, West Ham or Spurs? Jump over to Ruthless Gooner, pop your vote in, and then we'll find out who's got the more percentage at the end of the stream. Tony Sullivan, he was part of the main entourage who wanted to buy. Wanted to take on the London Stadium after the Olympics. You've obviously left the bowling ground, which when I was growing up as a kid, I remember whenever I watched it's not so much as Arsenal at the same time, but other teams. Every time I watched a West Ham home game, it felt toxic. And not say toxic is in a bad way, I meant toxic is in the crowds on top of you. It felt intimidating. It felt like a place you're like, what's our next game? Oh, it's Upton Park. Oh, for fuck's sake, this is gonna be a long day. You've moved, and obviously Sullivan now has moved the team over to the stadium. It's not like the older day. It's not like the older days. The crowd is so far away in that. What are the ramifications for you if West Ham are to go down? Because unlike Spurs, who do have other things going on in their stadium that can help them and that, West Ham don't have that luxury. It's not like I'm out of the loop of this. Do you even own the stadium? Have you managed to take it off the council yet?
No, we still don't own it. We still pay rent on it. So when you look at it now, we're what's it now? We've got 89 years left on the lease itself. Originally, when you look at, I think the problem was when they decided to put the London Stadium or the Olympic Stadium up for sale. Obviously, West Ham or the board of Brady, Sullivan, and Gold got together with Newham Council and basically put in the tender for the stadium, which all accounts they actually got. But at that point, Levy was getting a bit peed off by Haringey Council. He wanted the new stadium being built. So that kind of put a little bit of a dent in the things. Then there was we're talking about Southampton with the Spygate. Spurs sent a couple of spies to West Ham to kind of find out what was going on, kind of thing, which came out. And from there...
Yeah, it was me. Sorry, Tony. I didn't mean to get caught. Damn. There is picture evidence of me hiking behind the tree somewhere with a pair of Hammer TV's binoculars, which you can purchase in the summer, where you get a free little Tony as well. I'm just giving you a bit of a plug, mate.
Dear, oh dear. Okay. Okay. At least we know where the leak comes from then. Go on, Tony, continue.
So when you look at it like that, you had Barry Hearn with Leighton Orient because he thought he was the rightful owners because it was only down the road. And then of course you also had Mayor Khan getting himself involved because he wanted the Olympics still to be played there. And at the end of the day, he was the one to put the final spanner in the works, and so that's when the deal got pulled away. And of course, now we rent the stadium. So I think by all accounts, we pay 3.7 million for the season, which we literally pay within the first game of the season itself, with the ticket sales and the merch sales. That covers the whole cost for the year, basically, and then we're supposed to get any money from that. But at the end of the day, the food and everything else is all part of the stewardship of the London Stadium itself, who are still losing money hand over fist. There was talks of Khan maybe considering would he let West Ham buy the ground, but at the moment I don't see it happening. And then of course you got Lord Coe wants Olympics there in 2029, and give the ball their dues in that respect. They've turned and said, we've got this lease, so football goes first. Tough. That's what our lease is entitled us for. So there's going to be an argument on that when it comes along as well. But yeah, the problem was, I think, when they was moving from Upton Park to the London Stadium, I think they thought it was a done deal. So they put all their eggs into that basket, and once it got taken away from them, the fact of when they turned around and said we was going to be as close to the pitch like we were as Upton Park, world-class stadium for world-class players. And when they kind of questioned David Sullivan a year after moving into the stadium, he turned and said, well, we're not a tin pot club, we're a big club. Look where we are now.
It's a dire situation for you. I actually do feel sorry for both clubs because, I want football to be run by competent ownership. If the team is just shit, then that's obviously a manager situation. But when it's more than just the team, is with money, is transfers, and it's just these little decisions which just alienate the fan base. It's just not nice at all. It really isn't nice at all. Moving into obviously tomorrow's games. Out of all the 9 hypotheticals, shall we say, only one of them sends Spurs down. The rest of it all sends West Ham down. The margin for error for West Ham now is absolutely, you have to win, and because destiny is now out of your hands. Or as Robbie or as AFT would say, it's all in your hands. It's not in West Ham fans, all in Tottenham's hands. They have the opportunity to just get it doesn't even need to be a win. Despite the fact you're with 2 wins on the season, you just need something. You need a point.
I mean, for us, a point, even that is not good enough. We have to get the win, and basically,
I was referring to a point for Tottenham. That's what I meant to say.
All they need is a point. It doesn't matter if we win our game regardless, and that all it takes is them to get a point, and all the good work you do in that means nothing basically. But then it's the club's, it's West Ham's fault for doing that in the first place. So, we're put ourselves there basically. So, what do you expect? We can't. Expect anything further. I mean, obviously, we're relying on one man, and it's a former manager of ours. And if he does get it over the line, as someone put on here, kind of thing, I don't know if you can see it. As soon as it happens, there should be a statue of David Moyes going outside the London Stadium straight away, basically, just to say thank you very much. So it's down to that basically. It is literally as tight as that. So we, for me, and I know Dermo's going to be doing the same. The fact that I'm going to have 2 screens going on as well as doing the watch along and watching both games. It's going to be it's going to be a roller coaster ride, that's for sure, kind of thing. I mean, fun enough, the 2 marks you saw earlier on, I did say to them, imagine doing a collab watch along. And I thought so, and I said it to Dermo as well, for your mental state, it's probably not going to be the best thing to do.
Yeah, nothing's going to happen on that stream whatsoever, is it? I said that in tongue in cheek as well. I think I better to always Tottenham to go into the Guinness World Records for holding a children's birthday party. If that's horrendous. Dermot, over to you. You've got Everton at your ground tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now, you've got one of the worst home records, and it's only second worst because of goal difference for Burnley. You're facing an Everton team that they have an outside chance of getting into Europe, but they obviously need to win. They need help along the way.
Yeah.
But they have the 6th best away record in the Premier League this season. How do you attack this? Do you try and go play as you are, control the possession, and go out and get as many shots as you can? Or do you try and play pragmatic and go, do you know what? We don't need to win this game. We just need to not to lose.
We just need to go for it. Go for it. We need to go. We need to get early goals. We need to go 2-0 up very early and then shut up shop. I think because then I think the game's over with. Look, Everton's not going to be easy. Our home record this year has been woeful. Our last win was against Brentford. I think that was back in September. I think it was September. Our last home win. We've had draws since then, but yeah, I think it was September. We beat Brighton 3-1. We just need to go out there and give it our all. Just go out there, do it, and get the goals early, and then shut up shop. No time for playing nicety. No time for playing keep football or anything like that. Just go and get the job done. That's all we've got to do tomorrow.
Exactly. Big up to Karl Rossi, having a relegation theme stream hosted by an Arsenal fan like myself, who's hoisting the title by tomorrow. Not a tad bit embarrassing. Question for the Arsenal fan: why are you doing said show? Because I can, and I was bored. There we go. So, and it's not like I'm the only one that does it. There are multiple other people who are Arsenal fans who host and actually have other of the London rivals on shows as well. So it's not something. It's not something. Nothing new. But big up to you, Karl. So make sure to smash the like button, bud. Yeah, nice try, PFC. Nice try. Oh dear, oh dear. Guys, what's going to be? What do you think is going to happen? Because I'm looking at the poll right now as it currently stands, and Spurs apparently, according to the people, well, it's on my channel, but I've asked everyone to go over there and vote on my side, and that is the fact Spurs are going down and at 86%. That's but remember, there are Arsenal fans on that side, so they probably would do that. Let's go with you, Tony. We'll start with you. First of all, I want your West. First of all, I want your game. Yeah, I want your game.
We're probably going to win that. I'll say we win that 2-1. It won't be an easy game because obviously we know how strong and resilient it is. But then I'm looking. When you look at the injuries that they've got, I mean, they've got Struck, Bogle, Goodmanson, Aronson, Stach, Okafor, Gruev, and Buonanotte. They're all out injured for Leeds. The only one we're missing is Traore. So when you look at something like that, I mean, don't get me wrong, even with those players out, it's still going to be a tough game. But I think we've got enough to get it over the line, especially that we're home as well. I think Nuno was set up right this time. I think he's got no choice but to do that, considering what he did last week. And as it's the last game of the season at home, surely he'll get his the right head on his shoulders and get it over the line. As for the Spurs game, I think, as you said, Spurs have only won twice at their home ground this season, and then don't get me wrong, De Zerbi has done a good job there when he's come in. It's something that, if you look at it, as Dermo said, they should have got him in earlier, but at that time he didn't want to come over. Moyes, there's that slim chance that he could possibly get Europe, and he'll want to try and get that over the line. Obviously, cheekily, he said that he would still like to see West Ham stay up, which could be a bad thing in certain respects, because that could give De Zerbi the momentum to and saying, you see what this bloke's saying about us? You know, it could have that effect to it. But I think Everton will turn up. And what did I say in your Dermo? Was it 3-1?
3-1, you said, yeah.
Well, 3-1 West Ham or 3-1 to Tottenham on that side?
Not so. Come.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeez, dear me.
Okay.
It's Everton winning 3-1. You think I'm going to big up Dermo at this point? I like that bloke. I ain't going to give him that much praise.
What I'm saying is that's quite lopsided for something so critical. I don't think it's going to be a lopsided. I don't think it's neither game. I don't think it's going to be lopsided. I don't think neither game. I don't think neither game's going to be lopsided.
If you look at it for both West Ham and Spurs, they're going to try and play out of their skins. Leeds and Everton and that, the thing when you look at it there, they've got to do their job at the end of the day. And when you think for Leeds, they are safe. So they've not really got to worry too much in that respects. But at the same point, they'll still come to the London Stadium to do a job. The interesting thing I would say on that, though, is seeing the article about Farker. He does feel like if he's not going to get backed by this board, then there's a possibility he might walk. So that'd be, how true that is another thing. If you look at Everton, Moyes, he has probably not been happy that the last 6 games they've hardly got anything out of games. So he will want to, make sure, if anything, he restores that great away record they've had all season. So there's possibly, there's that. That's why I see it in that kind of that light 3-point lane.
You're calling 3-point lane for a reason, but we'll see what happens. Dermot, over to you. What do you reckon? What do you reckon the result's going to end up being?
Look, let's start with Leeds. Let's start with Leeds West Ham first. Look, Tony knows this. I think Leeds will turn up. I think they will. I think Farker, whatever he has against the board, I think he's going to tell them players, I want you to end the season on a high. So I'm probably going for a 2-1 Leeds win there. And for us at home, I think we can do it. I think we can win 2-1. I really do. I think we're going to get an early goal. But the biggest fear I have is West Ham scoring early and Everton scoring early against us. And then you will see the pressure mount up on our players. And the players have shown they cannot deal with the pressure. West Ham players have been here before, some of them. They can deal with relegation. We've never been here before. So, we have to see what happens. But yeah, I'm going for a 2-1 home win for Tottenham and then a 2-1 Leeds win tomorrow.
Okay, that'll keep Tottenham up. Aces here makes a very good comment. Big up Aces, 1869. Whoever scores first goal tomorrow will set the tone of the day proceedings.
Yeah.
And that's basically what you just alluded to. Whoever scores first is going to send the nerves over the capital, regardless of what happens. So, but I feel like if Tottenham get the first goal, I think West Ham will just like, right, okay, let's just get the win because we know these guys can freaking screw it up. If West Ham get that goal first, Tottenham have lacked the mental capacity to hang on to games.
Yeah.
They've lacked the mental capacity. And I think if West Ham get that early goal, and that might put you under pressure. Now, if you're on my prediction is this, I don't think it's going to be as lopsided as you two think. I'm going to say West Ham are going to win 2-1. But I think Spurs are getting a point at home. That means West Ham go down on goal difference. And that's going to sting. That hurts me. That's going to sting like crazy. Because, as I said, I personally don't want West Ham to go down. Because, as I said, in the green room, I've got family relations that have supported West Ham for many decades and that. But if you'd have got like a point at Newcastle, I'll be like, no, do you know what? I think that'll be enough for West Ham because Tottenham can't win at home. And I'm guarantee you, a lot of people turn around and say the reason why you went down was not because of the last game of the season, it was because of freaking VAR against Arsenal. I know a lot of people will run with that narrative, but at the end of the day, you got 38 games to not get relegated.
Well, as I said to you, mate, 22 points from winning positions, and that's momental. When at the end of the day, that'll be up there. We won't have to worry about anything at all at that stage. It'll be someone else maybe competing with Spurs. We wouldn't have to worry at that point. Or put it this way, if we was up with 22 points, we've obviously Leeds and Forest, Spurs would be the third team. And that would be the truth of it all. So it's what the team's done. It's obviously what the manager's done more than anything else. But it's been a culmination over the last 3 years that we've got to this stage. And that's the biggest problem is that, as I said before, from the moment that Moyes and West Ham won the Europa Conference, that's when Sullivan realised that he'll have to dig his hand in his pocket because now he's got to emulate success for the next year and so on. So when you look at something like that, I mean, it's been coming. It has been coming.
It has been. Got a couple of questions here. Big up to Static. It's a question for you, Dermot. Serious question. What was the point of signing Gallagher? I don't understand that.
I don't get what the point of signing Gallagher was too, to be fair. Where we needed defenders and we needed a striker, we're going to buy a bloody midfielder. I think he will come good. I think in next season, I think a pre-season on the Zerbi, we've already seen we've seen glimpses of what he can do. But to buy the one player, just to sell Brennan Johnson, and then we go and get Kudus injured, that's the point I'm making. It's just a due diligence and Lang at the club. It doesn't work. I don't get it myself. From the gentleman sending the question, I can't give you an answer because I don't get it myself. So, yeah, it's a head scratcher. Send that one to the boffins to work out at Cambridge or Oxford University. Maybe they can work it out with the algorithm. I don't know. because I can't.
Fair enough. Big up to Louis Gomez Jr. Who more nervous, West Ham or Spurs? I think you're equally nervous. I think you're equally as nervous because you know you've got no margin of room for error here.
I think for West Ham, I don't think nerves is the one thing that's coming into it. I think it's one of those we know full well, shit or bust basically, and that if Spurs get a point, it's over. And I think, I mean, like I said, what he said to Dermo and that. Ask me the question after the games, then I'll say my view of it. At the end of the day, I'm not giving up until the games are out the way with, because the possibilities in this game, you still can't really, as much as the Opta computer says this and the other and so forth, doesn't mean nothing. I mean, obviously, you've probably heard this one as well, Karl. The time that you won the league, Spurs got relegated. So, is fate going to come around again? Who knows? But for West Ham, I'm sure it's been discussed. It's got to have been discussed at the training camp, surely. If they're not doing that, then also they're forced to themselves.
Yeah. The only thing I would say, and it could sway the fact that Tottenham could get relegated, was because everyone knows expressions. He he ended up touching a replica Premier League trophy, thinking we're going to win it next year. That's a cardinal sin. And he could potentially go down. But no worries. Louis Gomez says Jordan Pickford was seen in a strip club. Interested in tomorrow's game. Okay.
He was seeing how many balls he could have kept up.
Fernando's miss against Arsenal was shocking, worse than VAR. Yeah, it was. You should have buried that. I think it was Arvida just took one touch and buried it. That goes in, but he took too long and he gave Raya enough time to come out of his goal.
There's the extra touch, Cole. That was the thing. Why you got to take an extra touch for on that? You're a pro player on that. You should be able to score with your left or your right foot. Doesn't matter which one. So yeah, should have buried that.
Question by ADM.94. Pick up your bro. How long do you think it will take West Ham to come back after the inevitable relegation?
If we get it all right in that one season,
you'll go one season, so you'll basically come straight back up.
Yeah.
Well, you've got 8 places now, isn't it, for playoffs now? They're oversat training the playoffs now, the championship, I've noticed.
Well, look at the Champions League. You got to think there's 9 positions up for grab for this time, so it's anything.
Again, Chris Brown has put, how many points have Spurs lost from winning positions? I think one hand will do it. Oh, damn.
Quite a lot. Quite a lot. Too many to count this year. It has not been good. And that worries me tomorrow, that if West Ham score first and Everton, we do take the lead and Everton get an equaliser. We've seen it against Leeds, our head dropped. We saw it against Chelsea, our heads dropped. We've seen it many times this season that our heads drop. The players don't like pressure, but it's all about getting the job done tomorrow. It's all about getting the job done. But look, it's going to be nervy. It's going to be one of them Sundays where it's going to live in the memory for a long time, because I think this is going down to the last minute of the last kick of VARs. I don't know about you, Tony. I have a funny feeling VAR is going to get involved somewhere tomorrow. There's going to be a decision made by VAR that's either going to send us down or you lot down. I really do. Big up, Tom. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I think I said 1 point would be. I think it will come down to 1 point. I've said this for months.
Yeah, I think the way it stands right now, I think it does look more likely that West Ham are going to be ones to go down. But you never know. The Premier League is a very, very weird place. Shady shit happens every single week.
It's up to the football gods tomorrow, isn't it?
It is up to the football gods, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Gents, before we get on out of it, I want to throw this curveball. You. Hopefully I've still got it. Have I still got it? I have to go and brag it up. Obviously, England released their team.
The squad,
provisional team for the 26. want your opinions on it because I'll try and get it up quickly. So just bear with me a second, hopefully.
I can relax now. This has nothing to do with me, so I'll just leave it to you and Karl to talk about it.
I just want to throw this up before we get into the actual squad. I want to bring this up. This was the players that didn't play. Hang on, let me remove Ace's comment. Sorry about that, Ace. Who are we? There we go. Players not selected for the World Cup squad. Now, if that was a formation that obviously Tuchel's going to be playing with, it's a 4-1-4-1. Look at the names that are not going. Pope, Alexander-Arnold, Maguire, Colwell, Shaw, Wharton, Bowen, Palmer, Gibbs, White, Foden, Calvert-Lewin. Of everything that you've seen from the team's list, what's been the most shocking to you that has come out? Either one of you two does it.
I think if you look
No,
at
as
it,
I said, Tony, you go first, but I have no thought in this.
I mean, when you look at it, I mean, Wharton and Calvert-Lewin, definitely them two, and that, it seems to be strange. Alexander-Arnold, you would have him in there in the background kind of thing. Pope I can understand with. Maguire again, he found some form, and apart from the injury he got, Gibbs White has also done well for Forest. So when you look at some of the choices there, I mean, Bowen and that, I mean, for me, I've already said he's looking at it as a last hurrah that he's possibly going to get an England call-up, but not on the form he's been in. Palmer, again, very hit and miss. Very hit and miss. I mean, Foden, another one, not really done much at all. I mean, Shaw's had a good season. So, yeah, it's very strange. And the fact of Stones gets called up,
that makes no sense to me.
And, of course, it's like that favouritism again, Henderson. Are we supposed to be moving on as a national team, not kind of like going back to the old guard? We want to try and do something this time.
I don't think Henderson will play. That's the strange thing. I don't think Henderson's going to play. I think he's more there for leadership.
Yeah.
But then you're wasting a spot. Then you don't think you don't think Declan Rice can lead us? You don't think Harry Kane could lead us?
This is the thing.
I'm just saying me being biased. I'm an Arsenal fan here. I'd rather freaking they give Marvel Lewis Skelly a shot instead of Henderson.
Well, look, Mr. Waffle's put in there as well. Like, Madueke's been given the chance.
Yeah, the guy's the speed merchant, keeps running the ball out of play. He does nothing for us. So, yeah, Ace has put it's the worst England squad ever seen in history.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2014 weren't great, although we was in a group of death. What was it in 2014? We had Italy, we had Uruguay, we had Costa Rica. I think it was that in our group, and we got absolutely slapped.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maguire and Gibbs White has to be in the squad. I think it was all about how then rather than bringing names, he wants players that are in form. I mean, you have a look. Is Calvert-Lewin in form?
Well, 14 goals. He's found a bit of resurgence kind of thing. So when you look at something like that, I mean, if you're saying on form, then why is Stones playing? Why is Stones being put in the actual team? It's a weird, selection that he's given there.
Yeah, it definitely is. I didn't go mad on it because I don't go mad at the England squad at the end of the day. But I've seen a lot of discourse around this as a disgrace. Tuchel is a freaking German spy. Harry Redknapp has said that, which is very wild.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. I don't know. Dermot, what's your thoughts? While I try and get the actual
from a fan looking from the outside in, look, being an Irish fan and us getting where we got to, I'm very puzzled by the way that your manager what squad he's picked for the World Cup. I must admit, I think he must be in talks with Tottenham and West Ham this season how to build a squad that's not capable of bottling it. And as for you saying about that treacherous little turncoat that dumped Ireland for England, he couldn't lead his way out of a paper bag. But putting that aside, putting my allegiance aside to one point, I do think there's some good players in that squad. I do. I think Eze. I think also Manu as well in that midfield. Anderson. Yes, you're that player that plays for Arsenal. Also, I'm glad.
You can't get over that. You can't get over he was Irish and he changed to his English.
What got me, Karl, the most right? He kissed the badge. He played a full friendly international with us and kissed the badge. And then after that, do you know what, lads? I'm just going to go across the water. They're going to qualify more easily than us. See you later. The surprises for me, Ivan Toney, Henderson, Jed Spence, and Bellingham. I just don't know what Bellingham offers you.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there scratching my head thinking, what does he offer you? He doesn't offer you anything. He had one good World Cup and he's been playing off that ever since. He's been showing up at Real Madrid this season. When the going got tough, he doesn't go anywhere. And also with Bellingham as well. When Harry Kane drops into the 10 role, Bellingham wants to do the same thing. So they keep clashing into one another. They keep trying to go same spot. Ivan Toney, I don't get it. With that. And also with Henderson, it's bizarre. But look, I'm pleased for Jed Spence because I think, does he deserve it? No, I would have put Trent Alexander in there, if I'm being honest. But I'm glad to be the only Tottenham player going to the World Cup. Fair play to him with England. And your goalkeepers, I would have picked only 2 goalkeepers and picked an extra, say, midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you need a minimum of 3 keepers.
It's by rule, I know.
It's by rule. It's bollocks because you're not going to use the third one anyway. But you got Pickford, this is probably going to be his last World Cup anyway.
Yeah.
You got Dean Henderson, who's done pretty decently for Crystal Palace, and then you got James Trafford, who's the backup to Donnarumma. I mean, that's a perfectly good understudy to have under Donnarumma. So, but the other thing is with things as well. Luis Gomez has just actually posted this. Ivan Toney has won the jackpot in life, 400k a week in a World Cup squad. If you read the press conference, what Tuchel said, he has said a lot about him, about Ivan Toney with scoring ability, this, that, and the other. And then he said at the end, he is a key penalty taker. That's the only reason why, and I'm not having a rant here, but that's the only reason why he is taking Ivan Toney. Because we are, well, obviously Dermot is, but me and Tony are English. We know there's going to be a penalty shootout. We know it is because there's 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, in England, and the penalty shootout in the fucking World Cup. Consistently all the time.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, again, when you look at like the attackers, I mean, even Anthony Gordon, what's he done? He's been injured most of the season, and he's in. Madueke in. Saka's not exactly been great, but he's in because he will be in there regardless. I mean, he can walk with one crutch and you'll still put him in. I mean, Bellingham, I agree with Dermo in that. Unfortunately, it's all about Bellingham at the end of the day, not a team performance. It's all about him. Unfortunately, the fella overhyped himself. So he's another one. Because they've been there before, it's what that guarantees them to go back in again. No, as you said, Karl, if he's supposed to be on form, then really that's what should be picked on. But when you look at some of the players that are not going, there's a couple of, Walton especially, he should be in there. 100% he should be in there.
Yeah, it should be. Bellingham's most overrated by the British media. He's mastered the art of looking busy on the pitch. Let's see how long it takes Real Madrid to win the UCL again. He's no Modric or Cruz. I've said but Bellingham's also got a huge ego as well. It's as big as New York City, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I think that squad, I don't know if you guys agree, I think that squad is a quarter-final squad at best.
Minimum court. Well, everyone is saying we have to reach the semi-finals minimum because that's what we've been doing in the That's what we're doing in the last few major tournaments with England. But it's under a brand new manager. It's under a new coach. We don't have Southgate. We don't have the defensive, pragmatic, boring style of football. It got us very far, but that's the whole point when we're bringing Thomas Tuchel in. He is a tactical coach. If there's one thing I do like Tuchel about, he's a very good tournament. He's a very good tournament manager. Whether he's in cups or he's in Europe, he does get the job done. He knows how to find his way around it. Now, I know the England job is a poison chalice. We always this country gasses itself up every time we get to the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and we sing football's coming home again, and then it just falls flat on his face the next round. But this is probably the first guy I could recall, probably since Terry Venables, maybe even Terry Venables, who actually is actually a very good coach to actually tactically get it right, to get it changed and tweaked correctly. That's why I'm holding out hope a little bit. Call it blind faith, if you will. But I don't know. I just get the way we performed in friendlies so far. We haven't looked great, but I really could care less about friendlies. It's just getting new blood out there. See what you've got out there. I think by the time we have our two warm-up friendlies in Tampa Bay and in Orlando against New Zealand and Ghana, I think it is our two private friendlies are. We're going to find out then what he does with the squad and how we play. So I think there's something we need to just need to be patient. Let's try not to, as someone would say, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's just see how it all transpires.
Well, the interesting thing, anyway, when you look at that, I mean, what will be interesting in this World Cup is how many people will attend some of these games, considering the prices of
oh god,
seats. And then what makes it even worse for the England setup kind of thing, and that 3 lines on the shirt, they are rehashing that again to bring it out yet again with a new version, but the same song. That just kind of tells you where we're going with this. But yeah, I mean, extortion on the prices. I mean, talking about that, Karl, I mean, look at your game in the your cup game coming up. I mean, the stupidity of the prices that they're putting on there, and what the journey some players got to make to get to the game itself.
I mean, DJ B and Kenny Ken have been very, very vocal with the fact that getting the tickets. So I don't think DJ B has got a ticket for the game, but I think he is going to the screening at the Emirates, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the tickets are just so extortionate. It's not just the tickets; it's the flights over there as well.
Yeah, they're taking the piss of the flights.
And I don't think I've still got it. If I've still got it, I'll show you.
I mean, we had it last year.
No, I have got it. And Dermot, you'll find this funny. Let me just remove this quickly. You'll actually find this very, very funny. So, and this might cover your face, Tony. So I do pre-apologize for this. I will apologize for something, just not for my manager. So obviously, I don't know if you saw it, but someone had pre-booked a hotel. It was an Arsenal fan, but pre-booked a hotel for Budapest, and basically plastered, and basically, I think it was when Arsenal got announced to be in the final, they plastered it and they said, "Yeah, I'm going to the Budapest," and this, that, the other. And I know it's quite small, but if you actually look quite closely, you'll find there is a booking reference there. Some Spurs spanner rang up the hotel and cancelled the reservation.
Absolute genius. I'm sorry. I am sorry. If you're plastering that over social media, what do you expect? If it was West Ham fan would have done it. A Tottenham fan would have done it. I mean, to say it was a Tottenham fan, that was pure genius.
Yeah.
I mean, for that player. But look, I don't think you're going to win that final. No, I will say congratulations to you, Karl, on winning the league. I will say that. I may not like the team, but I like you, Karl. I've known you. So I will pass on because like you and Brenny and Bobby and all the gang from the Football Takeover as well. I've got great time from them all. Yeah, just me and Tony just looking from afar and just thinking if only it was us and we're sitting in a pub somewhere, crying into each other, thinking, why us, Derma? I don't know, Tony. And, next season, what's going to happen? I want to ask you guys a question with Pep leaving. Do Man City get their deduction on the Monday after the season finishes? Does that break Monday morning after the season finishes for next season?
I think I haven't tried to look at the 115. I've always thought like this. It's like 115 charger, but I'm like, it's on basically 4 charges, and they're just all 4 parts of it all. But the fact Guardiola dropped the bombshell literally at half time when Arsenal were 1-0 up against Burnley, it just feels all too coincidental. Why would you? Surely you would announce. Maybe if the league was done, maybe you announce like, I don't know, a few days before, the final game of the season against Aston Villa. Then I've decided I'm going to step down and leave. Then you're like, okay, he's leaving. Fair enough. We'll give him a good send off and so on. But the fact he actually done that and then had to go into that Bournemouth game and win that game, try and take it to the last game of the season and failing to do so, it just all felt a little bit too coincidental.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion. But listen, Pep Guardiola is going to have a stand named after him. The new North stand that Man City have got, they're going to be naming a stand after him, which is respectable, really, really respectable. And he's been their best manager in their history. But if these 115 charges come out and it's absolutely horrendous, then it's a tainted legacy.
Then also, Tony, for you and me, if it is brought out on Monday, and say for example, right, hypothetically, it's brought out on Monday, do Tottenham, whoever goes down, does that club then sue Man City and say to the Premier League, this should go down this season? I think West Ham sue Man City. Did Tottenham sue Man City? Do you know what I'm getting at?
There'll be several clubs doing it if you think about it. I mean, there's a lot of them that could do that. I mean, not being funny, if you think about it, Arsenal could definitely put themselves in that position because certain games have cost them winning the league, and that could be where Man City have done them kind of things. So yeah, the implications are tenfold if you think about it. I mean, when you look at the situation with Southampton down in the Championship, I did see a thing where Millwall and Wrexham may also consider putting their pennyworth in, because at the end of the day, with the situation with Southampton, it kind of denied them a possible playoff position. So when you look at things like that, I don't think you're going to hear the end on that side of things, and I don't think you're going to hear anything. If it does come out that's if it's going to be 115 charges, because I think if you look at it, it'll be nowhere near that. You'll be lucky it'll be half of those charges, I'd say. But if the FA or the Premier League, whatever way you want to look at it, want to try and make an example, because we know this is what this lot tried to do, even with the points deduction, by all accounts, City's going to still be safe. So it doesn't really... It's one of them kind of, it's an awkward one. I mean, when you put yourself in that kind of position, you've got to question what was the motive in the first place, because you've got the money and everything else to do what the necessary to build a team and kind of go on to win Champions League, Premier League, whatever. If you look how this FA and the Premier League run, there's a lot of things that they get away with which are not questioned. For a West Ham's point of view, we saw that with Paqueta, how that was handled, that with a betting scandal. I mean, you take a man's phone, you give it back a month later, you give it back to him, and then a month later you ask him for the phone back, and it's like, hold on, you've had it all that period of time, so why haven't you got the information you need? And then, of course,
I want to add to that, Tony.
They couldn't do it. Sorry, mate.
I just want to add to what you just said. You are right in what you're saying. But my point back to you is, are the Premier League scared of Man City? And are they scared of, in a way, of damaging their product?
Of course, because at the end of the day, you've got to think they've got the money, they've got the clout, they've got the acumen, they've got the legal force behind them, haven't they, at the end of the day? So they can in some respects, outbid and outdo anything really if they wanted to. I mean, not being funny, when it first came out that these charges were going on there, it was already said at that point City could drag this out until 2030, 2035 if they wanted to. So it's not gonna stop.
Yeah, no worries. Mr. Waffles put, I'm interested to know if the title City won and they are guilty. Do they have them removed? They won't have the titles removed. I think once it's set in stone, what are they going to do with all the trophies that they've engraved Man City's name? It's going to look a right mess. And if they do, it'll just go down as non-applicable. It won't move it on to whoever was finished second, but they'll just move it to non-applicable because at the end of the day, it was a tainted season or seasons. City are long hauling it, then playing this until this is sorted.
That should be ban them from playing.
Ban them from playing until this is sorted. Yeah, exactly. Which is why I think it's going to happen. I think they will get. I think my personal thing, it'll be a fine and a points deduction. I don't think it'll be. I don't think they'll get relegated to the Championship. I generally don't. They need to keep. City have got big money. The Premier League need them for big money, so they're not gonna. They're not gonna throw the. They're not gonna throw the huge Yellow Pages book at them. Maybe just a small one, but not not the usual size that we used to know of back in the day. City and Chelsea cheating bastards. Juventus were stripped. Yes, Juve were stripped. Yeah, but remember this. Yeah, remember though the Italian. And not the Italian FA, but the Italian Football Association, the Italian football lot, completely different. They don't like corruption in football, but yet they're more corrupted now than what they were previous back then when Juventus were on top. But anyway, I digress from that.
I think let me just add one thing I'd say about it. When you think about the South, just to kind of add on with what's going on in the Championship, Southampton been docked 4 points, haven't they?
Yes.
Now the FA is getting involved. It wouldn't surprise me that you're going to find them probably going to be getting 10 points deduction.
That'll be more than enough for them to stay up anyway. So that's not really much of a. It's the thing. They've increased it to 8 teams now, not the 6, which means there's 2 extra spots. So basically, South are like, okay, yeah, hit us with a 10-point deduction. We don't care. We'll probably get into the playoff spots anyway. So. It's a good deal for City with all those titles they won. I would take a fine and points deduction. Yeah, Mr. Waffle, I think that's how it's going to end up being. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on. Absolutely amazing. Dermot, I know you got to bounce quickly, mate. Your links in the title and in the description. Just let them know where they can find you and what you got. Obviously, you got the watch along coming up tomorrow. So if you want to go and watch the Tottenham Hotspur fans celebrate or cry his eyes out, and you probably know where to go there. But what else you got coming up afterwards? After that,
we've got the season review next week, and then we've got loads of transfer stuff. I kick into transfer, and then World Cup watch-alongs, and then in July we're going to kick off with all the pre-season games and everything. Kick into another season. So big up. I have to bounce, Tony. I will give you a text tomorrow, man, and after the game, Karl. Best of luck. We'll do something over the summer, bud. Keep in touch and email me on my email address, and then I'll link you my number, and then we link up on WhatsApp and we'll do something. But please like and subscribe here. Do it on Tony's channel as well if you can, and mine as well. Thank you so much for having me on.
No worries, Dermot. Absolute legend, mate. Absolute legend. Dermot's always a sound person. Big up to you, bro. Tony, thank you for coming on, mate. As always, your links in the title as well. So go and sub over to Tony's channel, doing absolutely amazing stuff on it over there. What have you got coming up, and where can I find you?
So you'll follow me on Hammers Football TV. I'll be doing a watch along as well tomorrow, and then obviously 8 o'clock it will be the Sunday night takeaway show. So we'll have a few people on that one. That should be very interesting. I've already got the black suit ready and the black tie, so I'm ready to go just in case. If not, the Hawaiian shirt's coming out, kind of thing, and it's Mojitos all the way. It's going to be one of those, Karl.
Obviously now that Dermot's out the way, obviously I do want you to stay up and Spurs to go down. I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm not gonna deviate away anything close to that. Okay, but I wish West Ham all the best for tomorrow. get your win, and then it's
It's in the
cross
lap
your
of the
fingers,
gods.
cross your legs, and cross your
Yeah.
balls for the rest of the games. It's going to be problematic. West Ham Spurs may the best team survive last day shenanigans. It's going to be. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of I'm into my horror films. So the first Saw that come out, where the two guys are in the bathroom, not fighting to the death, but they're trying to manipulate their way and what they're going to do. It's going to be whoever cuts their leg off first to try and get out of the bathroom, and the other one's left to rot, aka the championship. So we're going to see what happens. Anyway, guys, I've also checked the poll as well. 17 votes and 82% of you said Spurs are going to get relegated. That is on my channel, by the way. So whatever. But Tony, thank you as always. Thank you for coming on, mate. And I hope we get to do this all again next season. As I said, crossing my fingers for it, mate. Thank you to everyone that's been watching. Thank you to everyone's been on over on West Ham on Hammers Football TV. And big up to people that are on THFC Till I Die. Thank you all for tuning in. Please make sure that you smash the like button. Make sure you sub to everyone, including myself. Make sure you hype the video as well. New championship chant, Tottenham away, LA. No, it's Lincoln. Yeah, no, that's what Lincoln City have been singing, haven't it? It's Lincoln City. It might be fucking Stockport that might be going up. Can you imagine? Imagine Tottenham going to Stockport. Ooh, long day. I'll tell you what we do. We'll end it the way we started it because he's gone. So we might as well redo it all again. So if anybody ever didn't watch it at the beginning, you're in for a treat for the next 3 minutes, and then we'll close it all out. Thank you all for watching. Good night. God bless.
Take care.
So fucking depressing. It's vile and distressing. I might top myself, 'cause I feel sad, numb and grumpy. I might leave the country for my mental health. Fucking hell.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the absolutely fantastic, the one and only, the absolutely sensational Elton John.
Don't let the Spurs go down the league. Although I shit myself with all the records we can see. Next year we might be playing Lincoln City with pies and tea. Oh, but losing every game, and we'll see Spurs going down the league.
It's who we are, mate. It's who we are.
Absolutely not fantastic.
To dare is to do.
It's a sad state of affairs.
Don't let the Spurs go down the league. Oh, I shit myself from a corner and a set piece. The legend that is Harry Redknapp. Can't you see? Oh, it's you we need. But losing every game, we'll see the Spurs going down a league.
The fantastic Elton John, I'll come in and do a job as soon as Cheltenham's over. Fantastic.
The Spurs going down the league.